69% of GDP is high for a country with a 50, 60 billion dollar GDP. But I think that it is not a hopeless case yet, and that it can be arrested simply by less misadventure and more prudent management of the economy.
Issues of interest rates. We've seen the Minister of Trade consistently hit at, I should say, banks and also microfinance institutions demanding that they lower their interest rates. In the next 45 days, he's going to organize a forum, including the Bank of Ghana, Ministry of Finance, and his ministry, to help arrive at a consensus as to how to drive down interest rates. What do you make of that?
Dr. Spiogabra is a very good friend of mine, but he's also a politician. You cannot legislate interest rates to go down. You cannot drive down interest rates. Banks do not take up interest rates. Banks do not determine interest rates. Interest rates are a factor of the way you manage the economy. Period. He should speak to the president and the finance minister to manage the country such that your economic variables will point to lowered interest rates. If you borrow heavily from the domestic market, as we talked about, and you pay a high price for it, your interest rates are going to go up. It's as simple as that. And Dr. Spiogabra knows it.
So looking forward for CAL Bank. What is that?
I typically go to bed after work and I sleep. CAL Bank doesn't stress me. Work doesn't stress me. If my family has a problem, it stresses me. But this year, I go to work, I go home, I sleep, and I wake up at 3 a.m. And it's simply because it's a very difficult environment. Like I said, we're spending unnecessary money on fuel. It's so annoying. It's an avoidable expense. Why must anybody spend 60, 70,000 cedis on fuel to power generators? And then your electricity bill, which you get from the grid, hasn't gone down. 4 days out of the 7 days, you provide your own electricity. You get power for only 3 days. And the 3 days you get power for, you pay more than you were paying before. That and other things. It's so difficult right now that it's 2015 is going to be a difficult year. But as we promise our shareholders, we will battle on. We'll do what we can to try and protect the value of the bank and return positive value to the shareholders.
Okay, would that be?
How are you dealing with the depreciating cedi?
We manage it through the risk process, the treasury risk process. We make sure that's why I said earlier that the banks have an advantage because you have other currencies, you manage the currencies, you manage your shortages, and then through that, hopefully you equalize or you avoid losses.
Would I be pushing too hard if I pick your thoughts on the downgrades by Moody's and Fitch and how it's going to impact Ghana's floating of the $1 billion Eurobond?
Ghana will simply pay more in interest.
Should government go ahead even?
That question you should reserve for Setekwe. The question is about my pay grade. Thank you very much.